Alright, what's up guys? So I'm going to be working on the brake booster relocation for today. So I got this pump right here and I'm going to use that to get rid of the brake fluid in here and then disconnect stuff and then take out the brake booster and then yeah, drill some holes, move everything ½ inch over to the right, and then that should give enough clearance for the M50 to fit in, because if you don't do this, the intake manifold is going to hit the brake booster. Brake master cylinder is out. It's right there. So I had to take off these two brake lines because they're hard lines and I didn't want to bend them, taking out the master cylinder. So that means later, once I put all this back together, I'm gonna need to bleed the brakes. All right, so that's done. So next I gotta loosen the 4 nuts that hold the brake booster in, and that is gonna be on the inside. So start taking off this panel and start taking out all that stuff back there. All right, I got the panel off. It was just 4 of these 8 mils. All right, so it's gonna be 4 nuts right here. I'm gonna take those out. Those are 13 mils, I think. All right, so I got all the nuts off. I couldn't really record it because it's super tight spot in here. There was one nut that was like right up here, and like there's this metal piece right here that's part of the whole pedal box. This is going to get in the way when we relocate it ½ inch to the left from this side. So that's why we're only going to use the 2 bottom ones and the top left. We're not going to use the top right. All right, brake booster is out. So I'm just gonna cut some of this insulation. Pretty clean cut. So now I'm gonna move the new holes ½ inch over, and this is the one that's not going to be used, so I'm not going to drill one here because there's the metal thing. Let's see. Right here, this metal plate, it's going to be in the way, so I'm not going to be using this hole. So just 1, 2, 3, and then just chop off one of these studs, and yeah. All right, got the holes marked where I'm going to drill, so just 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm also gonna shave off this edge. All right, so I cut off the studs right here, so it's smooth. Just ground it down with an angle grinder. And then I made the cuts right here, so you can see I have these holes moved over ½ inch, and then I cut it right here so it would clear, and then I just cleaned it up with the Dremel. So I'm pretty happy with how clean these cuts are, because I've seen other people do it and theirs is like all destroyed. So happy I kept it pretty clean. And test fit this. So here you can see it fits, sits all the way flush. So now I'm just gonna put some paint on there to make sure that it doesn't rust, and put some paint on here too. All right, got it painted. It's a little wet. It's okay, no one's really gonna see this. Yeah, I don't have blue paint, so I just use black. All right, so I got the brake booster all bolted up and everything. Here is the auto brake pedal. I'm gonna be switching this out once I get the manual pedals. But I'll show you right here. So you see how the brake pedal, it has this part, this tab that kind of connects to the, this is the Clevis with this pin that goes through. So I can take this out. See, it slides. I'm not gonna take it all the way out, but normally the brake pedal tab is supposed to sit in between here, but because we relocated the brake booster, now the entire Clevis sits to the left of the brake pedal tab. Usually people add an extra arm to the right of the Clevis, so there's like 3 arms so that the brake pedal tab can be in the center again. But I'm not going to do that because I'm kind of lazy and I have a lot of stuff to do, and I'm just trying to get this car running as soon as possible. So instead, I'm just going to leave it like that, and here's the pin. I'll just slide it in between the Clevis right here, and then that should be enough because I mean, it's like, what is that, 1/4 inch steel? It's pretty thick, so being secured with only one side of it instead of on both sides, one side should be good enough. But yeah, so that's pretty much the brake booster relocated. It's mounted and everything, it's sturdy. All right, so today I'm going to be doing the pedals, moving the new clutch and brake pedal into the car because it's got the auto big pedal and no clutch in it. So here you can see the connection where the Clevis would be, and then the pin just slides through that. So I already have that removed in the car because I did the brake booster relocation, so I had to take that out. Now this whole pedal assembly, it's actually from an E28 5 Series. Now I've heard that the whole pedal assembly isn't plug and play, but the pedals are. They'll work if you swap them over, but this whole pedal assembly actually looks pretty similar to the E30 one, so the entire thing just might be plug and play. But I already cut the other one for the brake booster relocation, so I'm just going to transfer the pedals. Now what I've read online is that brake pedal, one from an E28 or an E24 will work, and then clutch pedal, one from an E28 or an E30 will work. Now the whole assembly itself, this whole bracket, I think it might be the same because there is this diagonal piece, and you see how it's like right next to that hole. This is the reason why that one stud had to be chopped off on the brake booster, because relocating it that way would put it right in line with this metal, and it's not going to fit. So yeah, that's why I think this whole thing might be plug and play. But I'm just going to be taking off the brake pedal and the clutch pedal to use in my E30. So I'm also going to be, I think I'm also going to try to move this clutch sensor thingy, but it might not be necessary because I think since my car is in auto, I think the body, the chassis harness might not have something to plug into here, but I'll just move it over anyways. So yeah, got a new master, the clutch hard line. So the hard line goes at the bottom of the master, and then the hard line goes into a soft line. Soft line goes to the slave. So yeah, got the master, the hard line, 2 grommets for the holes in the firewall, and a little pin to hold the hard line and soft line connection. Right at that point is to hold it in place. And then this little plastic plug right here that goes into the master right here. And then I got this line that's gonna run from the master into the reservoir right here. I just gotta clip this off. All right, so first disconnect the clutch pedal from the master. So if you want to keep the master, you would take out these 2 bolts, but because I'm not going to reuse this, it's like kind of bad, and I have a new one, I'm just going to disconnect it where it meets the clutch pedal. Now this is the bolt you want to keep because the bolt on the auto pedal only goes up to here, and then brake pedal just comes out like that. So this is all I'll be needing, and then I'm just gonna put them in the car. Same process as this, but can't really record it because it's like a super tight space, and I need light and I need room to work and stuff. So yeah. All right, so clutch pedal is in. So there was some wiring that was in the way. So normally the bolt is facing this way, right? So bolt head is on the left, and then nut goes on the right side. But because the wiring was in the way, I actually put it the other way. So I put the bolt head on this side and then put the nut on that side, nut and washer on that side. It's really hard to see, but it's there. All right, so next is a throttle cable. So it's like, it's really impossible to record in here. But throttle cable right here. So before I put the master cylinder in, I'm gonna disconnect the throttle cable and all that stuff and push it out because it's gonna be tough to do that with the master in here. So just get it off of the accelerator pedal and then push the plastic clip out so I can get the E34 throttle cable in. All right, got the cable out. So here's the old one. Got the new one right here, the E34 one. So it's got these plastic things that stick out, and what I did to get it out was, because it's really tight in there and you can't really press it with the screwdriver on these tabs, I just got some pliers like this, push those tabs in, and at the same time got a screwdriver to push it out while I was pressing these tabs in. This side's going to be on top. I'm just going to feed it through a little hole right here. So this is something you definitely want to do before you put the brake booster back on, but I already put mine back on, so I'm just gonna, there's other stuff that you need to do too, like the 2 holes for the line that goes to here, to the brake reservoir, and the other line, or the other hole, it's like behind the brake booster. There's 2 holes basically, and you got to feed some lines through there, and it's annoying with the brake booster in the way, but I don't want to take it off because it means I have to disconnect these hard lines and disconnect the nuts inside, and like that's just a lot of the work. That was a pain in the ass to do, so really don't want to do that. All right, I decided to just take off the brake booster anyways. So the reason why I really want to not do that is because these hard lines, they're perfectly lined up for the brake master cylinder, and when you move the entire brake booster to the right, it pushes these more back, and that just makes it even harder for you to like tighten these back on once everything's together. So because it's way harder, I almost cross-threaded these threads right here on the master cylinder, but luckily I was able to save it before that happened. So I just clicked in the throttle cable right here. It's all good now. So these are 2 holes that I was talking about with the grommets, and the here's one of them. So the bottom one is for the hard line. Here's the hard line. It goes at the end of a clutch master cylinder, and here's this little like plug thingy. Let's see, based on the old one, yeah, it's like this, and then the angle, it points downwards. So I'm just gonna put that in right now. I'm gonna get a bit of brake fluid on this to lubricate it. There we go, just like that. Hard line goes here, and the soft line I got right here. This one goes to the reservoir, so it'll go just like this. Now, the only problem is that I got this brand new, which means it's perfectly straight. So I'm gonna need to position this inside in the pedal assembly, and then just try to adjust this and bend the hard line. So yeah. Alright, so here's the hard line. Now it's bent. It's not bent perfectly, so I'll show you what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to look like that. Yeah, so basically this is supposed to be curved more. But it's not the exact same, but it'll work because let me just install this. Okay, so see how the hard line goes through this hole? So I think stock, it's supposed to not go all the way through. It's supposed to go like stop like right around here or right here, and then this is so that the soft line from the transmission, the slave cylinder, the soft line from there that connects up to here can have a little metal clip that sits on this little bracket. But because this is bent by hand, I think this is close enough. I just won't run the bracket, and honestly this will probably hold. Like, it's pretty good. Like that the bracket hits right on the metal nut, I guess. Oh, actually that might not be good because it might get in the way. Yeah, because if it goes through, I want it to go through all the way. Finished bending the hard line. Here it is. I kind of just bent it, put it back on, and then checked it, slightly bent it more, and just keep going, make small adjustments. Don't make too sharp of bends because then it'll just like pinch the line. So I just did this by hand. Just take it slow, make small adjustments, and then should be good. So this is what it looks like when it's on. Just screw this on. Okay, so here is where the bottom one sits. You can see it sits inside of the hole of this bracket that sticks out. Now, normally it's actually supposed to be flush. You see how on here, the hard line sticks out maybe like a centimeter, half a centimeter. It's supposed to be, I think, flush based on this video from Condor right here. Their clutch line, soft line that they have, it's like stainless steel or something. You can see right here, the hard line is like flush with the tab that sticks out. So there's actually normally supposed to be this, which sits right here, right? But I'm actually not going to run this because yeah, I don't think it's really necessary. Plus the bend isn't perfect, so it's not going to line up with this. So yeah, I'm not going to use this. But yeah, so once I screw in the soft line and then connect that to the slave, the clutch hydraulic system will be done. So yeah, and then here is the here's the line to the reservoir. I just gotta cut it, trim it, and then I put on these grommets too. You know, do it right. Don't just like stick it out the firewall. Make sure you have these grommets so that the lines don't rub, and so it seals the engine bay from the inside from the engine bay. And then I got two wires sticking out here. I have no idea what they are. They connect to these two. And then this was all done by the previous owner, so I really have no idea what it does, but I'm just gonna reconnect it up because right now I'm just trying to get the swap running, and I know the car ran before, so I'm just gonna try to put everything back to how it was, and then I'll figure out what all this is for some other time. You know, master cylinder is all hooked up. The throttle cable is connected to the accelerator pedal right here. So yeah, pedal assembly is pretty much done. So working under here was super painful. It was like just a tight spot. I had to work upside down on my back, and I actually took out the seat for more room, and I put the seat right there. Yeah. All right, so the pedal assembly and all that stuff is done.